I do not believe at all that your favorite football team will draft Kenny Pickett. So I'm going to get that out of the way right up front. But I do believe that there's a lot about his ongoing process that's instructive and does apply to your favorite football team. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday morning if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer up daily shots of Penguins and Pirates that I hope you'll check out. Pickett was interviewed yesterday by YouTuber Adam Brenneman, and among the many interesting points that he'd made that I hadn't heard from him previously was that there are a lot of teams that are interested in him in the first round, and understand he's also selling himself to an extent, as all players will do at draft time. But he also spoke specifically of the New Orleans Saints and the way they've approached him. Now, the Saints, as everyone knows, have been looking for a franchise quarterback to replace Drew Brees. The Saints kind of need that quarterback now. And as a result, the Saints are seen as leaning more toward the polished quarterback type as opposed to the project quarterback type. Pickett most definitely aligns, and anybody's seen him play at Pitt, particularly in the past year, can attest, into the latter category. He's got polish. He didn't have that when he showed up with the Panthers. He had his rough spells not all that long ago, actually. But then he decided to come back for his senior year and was enormously responsible. I don't think it can be overstated for the Panthers winning the ACC, going 11-2, and really building up their brand in a way they hadn't done in these parts in, way too long. Full credit to him. But there's a distinction between going for that quarterback who can help you right away, really, a Joe Burrow type without necessarily the Joe Burrow talent level, someone who can be, to an extent, plug and play. This is the number one reason that the Steelers should not be, and I believe are not, going to take Pickett, even if he were to fall to them at the number 20 slot. Not to be mean here, but they might already have Pickett in Mitch Trubisky, maybe even in Mason Rudolph. I don't know. I do know with the way their quarterback room is already configured, that whoever it is that you bring in, whether it's the fourth guy or whether if you add someone through the draft, you end up trading Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins or something like that, I don't know. But whoever comes in, it makes so much more sense to be someone in the Malik Willis mold, someone that you can comfortably and confidently keep on the sideline, work with him like crazy at every opportunity, including practices, scout teams, every bit of action that you can get him in a preseason game, and just keep building him up. So it depends, if you'll pardon the semi-pun here, where Pickett's concerned, on who's doing the picking. This portion of Daily Shot of Steelers is brought to you by Point Park University. Choose from nearly 100 career-focused programs leading to bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Choose when and how you'd prefer to do that studying, whether it's at Point Park's gorgeous downtown Pittsburgh campus, whether it's online, maybe a flexible hybrid format would work best for you. Find out more about all of this at pointpark.edu. Pickett, again, for what it's worth, told Brenneman in this interview that he expects to be the first quarterback taken.
I think so. I think there's a lot of reasons for it. I just think you look at like the game now and how it's changing. I'm a mobile guy that came in a West Coast pro-style system. I started a program that was 5-7 the first year I was in it. You know, we left as ACC champions, 11-2. So I know how to win. I know the process it takes to get there. It's never an easy thing, and I'll make that transition. I feel like faster in the NFL now because of that experience, and I know how to go about my business as a pro, kind of being an older guy. I think that's at the end of the day, that's what coming out of the position. It's like, can you win? Do you know how to handle all the things that it takes to be a quarterback? And I definitely do. So I think I am QB1.
I mean, all right, that's great. And that's actually what you want to hear. Why would you want to hear, if you're any of the 32 teams going into a draft, that so-and-so readily concedes that he's not the best player at his position and that he shouldn't be the first one taken at his position? Great. Awesome. And maybe it'll end up being accurate, depending on how the rest of the quarterback roulette plays out. The Carolina Panthers next week are reported to have every single QB in the class coming in for a visit to Charlotte. As I've said on this program before, they've been either tracing or matching the Steelers' footsteps all through this. They've been at all of the same pro days. They've sent the same number of people. They've looked just as intensely interested as Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, and anybody else that the Steelers have sent. But maybe they have more of a Pittsburgh-type outlook on the position. Maybe they are more interested in let's get the next franchise guy as opposed to let's get the guy who can just start in the second week of September. I'm going to reiterate this for everybody in the back, but I don't believe that it would be a great move for the Steelers to select a quarterback in the first round, regardless of who it is, with one exception. And that is, this is going to sound like kind of a cop-out on my part. I'll preface it that way, but hey, it's my show. I can do that, right? If they believe so firmly in Willis and his potential, and they see something there that they can turn into a weapon that other teams don't have and that opponents can't answer, then go ahead, do what you got to do. Get this guy, ideally without trading up. But if there is even a 5% doubt among your whole group, not just Colbert and Tomlin and the people at the very top, the ones who will make the decision, if there's even a 5% doubt at the table where you're sitting for this draft or your preparations beforehand, can't do it. You can't do it. Because what you'll be doing is you'll be forcing a position that you don't need to address right now and that you might well be able to address next year with a much more confident stance. Let the Saints have Pickett. Let the Panthers have Willis. Focus instead on getting yourself a sure thing at a position that you really, really need. Let me rephrase that. A surer thing at such a position. When we come back, just one question. Welcome back. It's time for the Just One Question portion of our program. That's always brought to you by Mike's Beer Bar over on the North Shore. That's on Federal Street, right across from PNC Park. More than 80 rotating taps of local craft beer. 500 great craft bottles and cans, more than 350 of those being local. And every Wednesday, as in today, it's wing night over at Mike's from 7 to 11 p.m., $12 for a dozen wings. Visit Mike's Beer Bar on the North Shore, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from Joe, who asks, hey, DK, with all of these quarterback visits for all the teams involved, do the agents for these players ever communicate to teams that their client does not want to go to a particular team? I know there have been very public displays of this in the past, but is there a lot of this that goes on, and do you feel it has an impact on which players get chosen by which teams? You're probably going way back to John Elway and the Colts. I don't mean to date you there, Joe. It's been a while since any such story has become public knowledge. My understanding on this front and everything that I'd ever heard is no, it does not go on. A quarterback has way more to gain from doing all of these visits and preparing himself along the path toward becoming even better and stronger in the interviews and in the testing and everything else that goes on. So if they have a team that they have in mind, like, boy, I hope really this is the one that takes me, they'll be that much better armed for that fight. I'll refer again to what Pickett said about being around the Saints. He praised the Saints not only for how they dealt with him in the interview process, but also how they handled things at his pro day and at the combine. He just really enjoyed being challenged by them the way that he felt he was. Does that mean he wants to go to the Saints? I don't know, but it might mean, and it probably should mean, that he feels like he's become a little bit stronger for the experience. Good for him. Good for him. In general, you don't want to be that player, or for that matter, that player's agent who develops a reputation for blackballing or for worrying about this challenge or that challenge. I wondered the same a lot around Trevor Lawrence's time when you're looking ahead to either playing for the Jaguars or the Jets, and each one of those looks equally unappealing, even if it's for very different reasons. Why would you want to go there when you know that it's going to take you a certain number of years just to claw out of the hole, presuming that you ever do? The same very easily could have been spoken for Joe Burrow. Burrow at least had the Ohio connection and some promises that were made in advance about what the Bengals would do. And what do you know? A couple of years later, they're in the Super Bowl. So to answer your question, again, really, no, it's not something that I hear, but there's a part of me that's surprised that I don't hear about it. And in turn, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that doesn't happen in the near future. I think it would have to be a quarterback of some exceptional pedigree, like someone that you see coming from a mile away, just a bona fide, no-brainer star that would be the type who would be represented by someone who's daring and bold enough and experienced enough in the business to be able to handle the darts and say, you know what? I'm sorry. My client is not going to that whatever football hellhole. Fill in the blank. There's no chance. Football careers are short. I'm not having my client waste even 3 of his seasons there. I don't care what you pay him. But again, unless you're talking about Elway, there aren't that many examples of this. And I'm really not sure why. I'm just not. I appreciate the question. It's obviously a very good one. And I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We'll do another one tomorrow.